We're now in the deep British winter months. Dark, cold, wet. Your pride and joy you want to keep for the sunny winter days, but you need something that you can use as your daily. Economical, practicable, but also with a degree of performance. Well, I may have just found the perfect daily. This week, I'm taking a look at this BMW 125D M Sport and asking the question, is this the ideal, everyday, economical, practicable performance car? Welcome to Fast and Fun. So unbelievably, the 1 Series has been around approaching 20 years. And this is the second generation of the 1 Series. In BMW speak, it's the F20. The F20 was the 5-door, the F21 was the 3-door. 125D, so long gone has been where the numbers on the back of BMWs represented the engine size. The 1 still represents the 1 Series, but the 2.5 doesn't represent a 2.5 litre. This is in fact a 2 litre diesel engine, but it's twin turbocharged, producing 215 brake horsepower. Not something that you would raise the pulse and raise the excitement. But if I tell you it produces a colossal 332 pound-foot of torque, then suddenly it pricks the interest. This has got clearly mid-range, low-down torque that's going to give you a shove in the back. And it's quite a quirky car, the 1 Series. It's definitely the Marmite car. The layout being, it is the BMW hatch. It is the hot hatch. But where most hot hatches drive the front wheels, BMW has stayed with its tradition. Front-engined, but rear-wheel drive. Should make for an entertaining drive. And then values. This particular one, the 125D M Sport, were best part of £30,000. In fact, if you tasted and put on and selected a few additional options, you could have been well into the 30s. So these are not, and were never, cheap cars. But now, one like this, high mileage, this one's got 139,000 miles on the clock, and it's a 2012 plate. So it's a 10-year-old car. These could be picked up from about as little as £8,000. All the 125s, because they were the powerful diesel engine, they all came with the M Sport pack as standard, which included 18-inch alloy wheels, sports suspension and sports seats, plus a whole host of different badging around the car. And I think the first thing to say is those 18-inch alloys do look nice. It gives it more of a sportier stance, especially with this, well, I know it as a sort of estoril blue. It may not be in modern day speak, but it's that really, really light coloured blue, offset with those wonderful 18-inch twin 5-spoke alloys. On run flats, incidentally, this car, so that they all came on run flats. A lot of people switch away from run flats. This owner's decided to keep them, so it'll be interesting to see what that does to the ride. The famous BMW kidney grille is there. Much better like this generation than the last few years where BMW have gone to a huge kidney grille. I've still not bought on that. This is more of the traditional kidney grille, which I just think looks better. This one has the rear tinted windows, and I think the feature that most stands out for me is the rear doors and the angle that the doors slope right back. It goes all the way up, and then it goes through the famous, I think it's called the BMW Hofmeister kink, I think, which a lot of BMWs are famous for. When you open, it's this rear curvature. I think it's the Hofmeister, the kink. And then you go around the back, as I say, the rear windows are tinted as well. The 125. why BMW couldn't keep numbers. Audi do the same. A lot of manufacturers now have moved away. It used to be so great 20 years ago. 2.5 used to mean 2.5 litre. No longer is that the case. Then at the back, twin exhaust. With this, it would have been nice to see some sort of rear diffuser, but you don't get that. It's just a bit of sort of plastic with the rear, very low bumper on the back of the car. Quite square-looking LED rear lights at the back. And it is a Marmite car. There is no two ways about it. The 1 Series has divided opinion for the last, well, I think 18 years, 19 years. I think the first ones came out in 2004. 3 generations of 1 Series. Let's take a look in the boot, first of all. So in a hot hatch category, this is important. A lot of these cars will be used as dailies, and that's a pretty good size rear boot. Compare this to something like my Megane, similar sort of size, similar sort of class, and I would say that's certainly adequate for family daily life in there. And then we go into where the important part is, where the driver sits. So this comes with the M Sport, comes with M Sport seats. Interesting that these are not leather, and I think it's nice that they aren't leather either. You can see a little bit of M Sport badging there. A change, suede, Alcantara, sport seats, really they're fully electric. There's a whole sequence of positions you can get the seat into. Floor mounted accelerator, BMW tradition. And then as you go up to the dash with the speedo on the left, rev counter on the right, that's the interesting. Can a diesel car that revs to just over 5,000, can that provide the thrills that a performance junkie, a petrolhead wants as his daily driver? Well, we shall find out. The dash, pretty much as you'd expect of BMW, the centre high display. This one's the 6-speed manual transmission. It's got the BMW iDrive as well. We'll have a look at that. And it's also got, just there, you can see, oh, it is, I just banged the camera, the sport button. And we'll have a look at that and see what that actually does do, or do you feel any difference? I know it changes the throttle mapping, not sure if it's anything to do with the suspension or not. We'll have a play with that on the drive. But because this is a daily, we do need to look at some practicalities. So this being the 5-door, let me get into the rear of this car so you can get a feel for how practical this is getting people in and out of the back. So because it goes back, I'm just have to feet in first and then squeeze my head in, put my feet under the back, under the front seat. Okay. That's my driving position. I'm 6 foot. My knees are into the back of this car, of the seat in front. So I have, well, I'd survive short distances, but nothing more. It's quite a narrow aperture to get in, but you could argue that it is a hatch, and it's more likely to have probably small children in the back rather than a 6 foot adult. So yes, okay, for short journeys, I wouldn't want to spend hours in the back of this. And obviously, because it's rear-wheel drive, you've got the tunnel in the back as well, which does cause restrictions. So really, it's a 2-seater in the back. You're not going to, that third seat is very, very restrictive because of that, the tunnel for your drive shaft going to your rear axle. I will take a look in the engine bay. So that's it. Oh my word, it's a double pull, and it just tells you that the bonnet's open. I think that's pretty obvious, but let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. So there we go. That's the engine bay, typical sort of more modern type of engines, all plastic, black plastic shrouded covers over everything. There you go, the twin power turbo, so 2 litre twin turbo. The excitement with this car is 332 pound-foot of torque. That's a lot of torque. This car's done 139,000 miles, so it's high mileage, and it'd be really interesting to see how this car drives. Wow, that's a loud motorbike. Right, there we go. So that's a quick walk round the car. Now what I'm really interested to do is take it out onto some of my favourite roads and test this car to see, actually, is this the ideal winter daily? Keyless go, so just pop the key down in the middle. The seat's got a real magnitude of different options to get you into the really good driving position. I'm sat nice and low, steering wheel's in a good place. Steering wheel, it's big, it's fat, it's got the M Sport logo on there. So's the gear stick, it's got the M Sport on there. As I say, there's the subtle badging, so that just lifts it. It's a big sturdy steering wheel. So keyless go, so clutch in, start. Yeah, you can tell it's a diesel, but it's not overly clattery, it's not overly noisy. I suppose the disappointment is that sweet round to 5,000 and that's it, where you expect BMWs to go up to 7,000-8,000. But we are where we are, but this is going to return, the owner states, you will get around 50 miles per gallon. What I have done on the iDrive, I've actually reset my trip so far. So on this drive, we'll see what I return. So let's go out. Let's find some of my best driving roads. So what's my early impressions then of this BMW 125D M Sport? First of all, driving position. In typical BMW style, I'm sat in a really good position, feel really comfortable. The seats, it's a pleasure not to get in nice performance cars that are not wrapped in leather. It feels like it's not a true luxury car or premium car if it's not leather. Well, actually, leather's quite impracticable most of the time. Really cold in the winter, really hot in the summer, and actually something like these seats, they really hug your figure, really hug your torso, but they're actually quite soft as well and very comfortable even in these early mile or so that I've been in the car. The ride, a little bit nervous about the ride, thought it might be a little bit choppy with the M Sport suspension and also with the fact of it being on run flats, but early indications on this little sort of single track road is absolutely fine. It's riding much better in many ways than mine began. One initial annoying feature, I suppose, is when I look down, I've got a real perfect view of both the speedo and the rev counter, but I can only see the top of the display at the bottom of between the dials. I can't see it, I have to lean forward, so I can't see the mileage, the temperature, the time, the trip computer, etc. It's not a deal breaker, but I don't know, it just seems rather odd that BMW position it there where actually you can't see it very well. The other nice feature in this car is it's a manual as well. Too many sort of premium exec cars come with autos, just loses some of that involvement for me. And yes, I know it's a diesel, but yeah, it's nice to have 3 pedals and a 6-speed gearbox. So just accelerate up this hill here. that torque there, it's got that, it doesn't shove you in the back, but it makes pretty fast progress. The one really odd, annoying feature is the pedals. They're really offset significantly to the outside. So my left foot, I expect sort of in line with left foot to be the clutch. Well, the footrest is slightly outboard of my left foot. The clutch itself is almost in between my legs if you drew a line straight up. And with the brake and the accelerator even further outboard. So it's all quite odd, and I can only assume it's because they needed so much space in this inner tunnel under the dash, and it's put the footwell really outboard. I've just checked the onboard computer just to have a look. So I'm returning about 37 miles per gallon, but in truth that's me probably driving the car quite harder than everyday driving, and I certainly think that if you got it into 5th, 6th gear, then I absolutely believe the owner that it's easy to see 50. So I'm just going to press the sport button here, which when I do that, you definitely feel the throttle mapping change. I don't know if it's any more than that or not, actually. I know if I go into Sport Plus, that reduces traction control, but I'll leave that on for the time being. So let's just see. We're going to go out into a 30. So 20 miles an hour, second gear here, just 2,000 revs, second gear. Oh, that's really, that's 60. So that's really quick there. Real big pull, slippy, a lot of leaves here. Traction control flicking then. So we're just going to come out of this 60, just going to put it into Sport Plus, which removes traction control. Second into third. And then this left-hander here, it's a second gear, it's very slippy with the wet leaves, etc. in the car. And and I went round 5 minutes ago, just with Sport selected, straight round there, no problems at all. Sport Plus, remove traction control, back end sliding straight out, really easy to catch. Good fun and games, and I think that is the big difference between this compared to other hot hatches. Rear wheel drive. The steering modes do certainly sharpen up the driving experience and certainly make it very, very enjoyable. And if you have the ability there in safe conditions to just have a little play on the road, it's just something that gives you the excitement. And the car, it's comfortable. I was a bit concerned about the run flats. These are probably the best run flats I've experienced. So what's my summary of the car? Well, the 1 Series is a Marmite car, but I think in this colour and in M Sport spec, it certainly makes it much, much more desirable. It's not perfect. The instrumentation, the digital display for your speed, not for your speed, for your time, temperature, odo, I can't see, obscured by the steering wheel. The offset pedals, probably the most annoying feature that I felt. However, having said all that, my biggest fears have been allayed. I was fearing the firm M Sport suspension with run flats would destroy the ride. Not at all. It rides really, really well, and it's just on the right side of sportiness. The diesel clatter, you soon get used to it. You drive diesels differently, of course you do, but that low to mid-range pull from that diesel torque, it's just a wall of torque, and you just make rapid progress effortlessly. The sweet spot there is 50 miles per gallon. But the real sweetener for me is the rear-wheel drive. The push rather than the pull from the engine. And that enables you to do things that you traditionally can't do in a hot hatch. Having, believe it or not, fun and games with sport, and especially in Sport Plus, traction control disabled, and you can have a few moments, a few thrills, just to keep you entertained. And that's a great thing to do, but with this reassurance of knocking it back into comfort or eco for your Monday morning grind into work. And that flexibility for me is fantastic. These second generation F20s and F21s get had from about 8,000, especially with this many miles on the clock. And for me, that has to be really appealing as my daily driver, especially during these long, dark winter months. Do I recommend it? 100% I do. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please thumbs up, subscribe down here somewhere. Stay tuned, another video next week. Thanks for watching.